Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever your time zone, welcome. This is AI Talk, and I'm your host, Kevin Crane. Welcome to the show, and welcome back to 2025. We're back from our hiatus over the holidays, and it's so great to be with you today. I've got a great group of guests for today's panel discussion on a critical topic impacting organizations around the world. Will your AI rollout leave your organization short of skills? A recent survey by McKinsey found that 44% of companies anticipate significant skills gaps over the next 5 years due to AI implementation. And as organizations embrace AI, we have a pressing question. Do we have the skills needed to make the most of this transition? Look, two major concerns stand out for me. First, many organizations struggle to identify the specific skills that are needed and the specific skills gap that AI creates. So exactly what are the skills needed? And second is the challenge of equipping existing teams or sourcing external talent with the required expertise. So what is the process that we should follow for upskilling? So during today's discussion, we'll explore some strategies for identifying skills shortages as a result of AI rollouts, and we'll look at some practical approaches to planning and performing upskilling and reskilling. But before I introduce our guests, I want to say that we want to hear from you too. We'd like to encourage everyone attending today to participate. So please join in with your comments in the chat section. And if you have a question along the way, please just jump on in. I will attempt to get some of your questions into the flow of the show. And we'll have a few minutes also at the end for your questions. All right, well, let's jump right on in and get to our panel of guests today, starting with Pat McGrew, Managing Director at the McGrew Group. Pat, are you with us?
Thank you. How are you doing,
There.
Kevin?
Hello, Pat. It is great to see you again. Welcome back to the show. Where are you calling in from?
I am in Denver, Colorado, or just a little east of it.
Wonderful, Denver, Colorado. Well, thank you, Pat, for being with us. It's great to see you again. Also with us today is Hooman Razavi, Chief Technology Officer at IEP Canada. Hooman, are you with us?
Hello, Kevin. Hello, everyone. Yes, I'm with you, and I'm joining from Mexico.
From Mexico, wonderful. It's great to have you with us. Thank you so much for joining us today, Human. And
Thank you.
finally, last but not least, Alfonso Lovieno, Vice President of Product Management at Fiserv. Welcome aboard, Alfonso. Where are you calling in from?
Hi, Kevin, and welcome everybody. Hi, Pat. Hi, Human. I'm in New York City today, and
New
pleasure to
York
be
City.
here.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you, Alfonso, Human, and Pat. It is great to have you with us today. Look, to start our discussion off today, I'd like to draw our attention to an article published recently by Forbes that discusses the growing skills gap in artificial intelligence and the labor shortages in the workforce that are making the condition worse. For example, in the United States, according to the Society for Human Resource Management, the U.S. has 1.7 million fewer workers this time today than we did 5 years ago, while at the same time, as businesses increasingly adopt AI technologies, the demand for skilled professionals has surged, and this has resulted in the workforce struggling to keep pace with the required expertise in AI. The article stresses the need for targeted upskilling programs and expanded recruitment efforts, but I want to get a read on this from our group today. Starting with you, Alfonso, what are your thoughts on this article?
I think it was a great article, and thank you for pointing out, Kevin. I would start from probably in historical facts. We had many industrial revolutions in the few centuries, and I can probably quote like the French chemistry Lavoisier. He was saying that nothing is lost, nothing is created, and everything is transformed. I'm not sure that we will have like a shortage of resources. Every company is different, and AI is just a tool that will help us, as an ingredient to better our products or our customer service or life in a different way. So I would take a step back and for identify skills in the organization, I would probably try to understand what is the product that every organization is building. How are they building this product? Do they have like enough people and tools to build these propositions? After that, we can clearly identify whether there is or there isn't like a shortage of resources. And I'm sure that we will AI, we will add a better quality of life for us and for the next generations.
Now, Alfonso, you're head of product management and data and analytics, open data at Fiserv. What is your experience at Fiserv? Are you folks struggling with the skills gap and equipping your employees with the right kinds of training? What's your experience at Fiserv?
Yeah, I think it's for every organization, not just Fiserv. There are different approaches how to fill the gaps for the resources. The first thing I think is there should be a willingness to learn for every resource and about any new contents, and there can be different approaches for every organization. I think every employee should have a bottom-up approach, being curious and trying to learn and be an agent of change. At the same time, the organization can prepare company content, can prepare material, and sharing with the different channels of the organization. So not just my previous company, but everybody in the organization may take different approach that can add value to the company, to the industry, and to the employees in different countries around the world.
Very good. All right, Pat, I want to get your take on it. I was surprised to find this stat from Human Resource Management, Society for Human Resource Management, that in the US at least, there are 1.7 million fewer workers than this time 5 years ago. That's surprising to me. Did you find that to be a surprise as well? And what are your thoughts on AI skills shortages today?
So one of the things we do is we do user profiling with user groups. And so we've had a sort of interesting insight into what's been happening in the parts of the industry, in the parts of industry that we serve. So no, it really was not surprising to me. The only thing that was surprising was that it was only 1.7, because if I listen to the companies that we deal with, you would swear that it was a whole lot more, because every one of them is challenged to find people, to find people who will stay, people who have that curiosity Alfonso referred to. We want curious people. We want people to be interested, but we find it difficult to find them very oftentimes. And some of that's on us as people who are trying to provide jobs to help people we hire understand what's possible in the job we're hiring them for and what new skills we can help them learn. And AI is one of the things that worries me a little bit, because it's become so hyped. Something that we heard from Gen Z workers that we've talked to is that they don't even apply for some jobs if AI appears in the job description, because they assume that they won't be there long and they're going to be replaced by the AI over time. Now, I'm not sure why that's the immediate leap, but it is a leap. The other thing we find is with what I'd call mature workers, people who've been in their jobs for, say, 5 to 10 years, they look at AI, many of them, even if they're curious, they might be curious, they might even be playing with AI, but there's a little niggling worry in the back of their head that they're going to be replaced and not upskilled. So as employers, I think globally we have an obligation to our existing teams and the people we hire to let them know where we see AI in the industry that we're serving and how it might impact their opportunities for growth in the organization, not their replacement. And I think that this article does a nice job of providing some groundwork for any employer who hasn't come up with an AI employee engagement policy. I think every employer should have one.
Well, I think that's an important point, Pat, because look, if we're a change agent in our organization, whether that's adopting AI technologies or some other process improvement, if folks in the organization are fearful of that change and think their jobs are going to be impacted, they're going to resist that change. And so to be successful in managing the change itself, a policy, as you've described, I think is critical. Can you give me an example of one organization that has done that? Or do you feel that we're all at behind the curve with a policy about AI implementation and the impact?
So here's what I'll tell you. I will tell you, there are companies who have gotten ahead of the curve and who've developed at least baseline AI policies. Here's how we use it. Here's how we don't use it. Here's authorized purposes within our company. Here are the tools we authorize. We've We've locked off our data from the outside world, so you're safe to use these tools within these domains. Here's some training that we're going to give you. If you need more, you come to us. There are companies that have done that. I don't want to expose anybody because two things happen when you name companies, right? Sometimes they're annoyed that you've let their secret sauce out the door, and sometimes they're just embarrassed that they're being called out. So,
All
but
right.
but those are the policies you want. However, the other thing to be aware of is that we have AI legislation that is growing in the US, and Canada is also on that road. The EU is also on that road to legislate how, when, where, why these things can be used, AI tools can be used, and how AI can be implemented. It's a privacy issue.
Okay.
So if you're in the state of Illinois right now, you want to be really, really aware of something called BIPA, which is the Biometric Information Act, that applies to how an employer can leverage tools that learn about employees' habits. Keyboard loggers, bad, right? Things like that. So AI comes along with this legislative baggage that is only going to get bigger over time. So from an employer perspective, as much as we want to imbue our employees and give them tools, those tools are collecting data that could be leveraged for the benefit of or to the detriment of employees. And we have to be aware of that.
All right. Well, Hooman, what's your perspective from Canada? You're Chief Technology Officer at IEP. What is your perspective on skills gap, and what did you think about the article?
Yeah, I have three different background, and I think in this discussion, all of these backgrounds help us because our company is a kind of edtech company, and we are trying to fill this gap for other companies. And also, in my experience, I am holding a PhD in AI, and I know the technical sides, and I was an employee for banks and other companies. But in this point, I want to refer to a quote from Mr. Sander in the Forbes article. And he said that talent scarcity is a significant global challenge. Yes, it's okay. And so equitable access to skilling, resources, and opportunities need to be fundamental part. I want to critique this quote because, this quote emphasizes the need for equitable access to skilling, upskilling, learning AI skills, resources, and opportunities as a solution to the global talent scarcity problem. But training programs, especially for AI, require significant investment in time, money, and efforts for companies. And however, from a perspective of businesses, the ideal of equitable access may conflict with practical constraint, and it's not a pragmatic point of view. And business might prefer training for employees who already have fundamental skills or are in roles where AI applications are critical, rather than distributing resource evenly and uniformly for social purposes. And companies operate in competitive environment, especially here in Canada and also in Mexico and North America, because of the financial crisis. And companies operate in competitive environment with others, and their primary focus is often on short-term returns rather than broad social goals. And this pragmatic view challenges the feasibility of making equitable access. And another point I want to say here is that in recent years, as you know, edtech like Coursera, edX, and other edtech companies has made significant values in providing affordable and accessible learning opportunities, especially after COVID-19 pandemic, accelerating digital adoption and aspiring a kind of AI training. And these platforms make low cost or for free courses on AI coding and related topics.
All right, very good. Well, Human, I appreciate your perspective on there. Interesting that you're commenting, and rightly so, recognizing that the investment into training is something very real for organizations, could be very significant. At the same time, when they really are putting AI into the organization to do more process automation and indeed perhaps reduce their headcount or reduce the labor costs of the organization. So we have two things sort of pushing against each other. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree totally. But when we are talking about enterprises, there are some important aspects. For example, the size of enterprise, the nature of AI implementation, the readiness of digital culture
Mhm.
across the enterprise. All of these factors, I want to talk about these factors in the rest of this meeting,
Please.
are really affect the process of investment and ROI for businesses.
All right. Very good. All right. Well, the article is from Forbes. It's here in the chat feature. You can take a look, click on it yourself. Everyone, take a look at that article and let us know what you think. We'd love to hear your comments on the article in the chat feature. It is from Forbes, and the article is AI Skills Gaps Threaten to Exacerbate Labor Shortages. So, very good. All right. Well, with all of that said, I'd like to move us on, everyone, to our first discussion point. And it is about this idea, this question I posed at the beginning. What exactly are the skills that are needed? Approximately, according to my research, approximately 35% of tech professionals report a shortage of AI skills. So my question to the group is exactly what are the skills needed that we have a shortage of? And what are the methods or tools that are available to us to assess those skills shortages? Alfonso, what is your advice for organizations looking to identify exactly what skills are needed?
Yeah, that's a great question, Kevin. I think that we should probably analyze within the organization who needs what, right? In terms of AI skills. It's not like a switch on and off that we can turn on and all of a sudden all the the organizations are AI proficients. There may be different level of proficiency that depends on the nature of the job that are performed. Some employees may need basic skills of understanding like the taxonomy and the basic component of the AI infrastructure. Some others may need a more intermediate approach, and the software engineer, of course, they will be with the data science at the forefront of the advanced knowledge. How you build this skill in an organization? Well, first of all, I think Human was referring to the cost that you have to invest in order to upskill your organization. I would add also the time variable, like how long do you have in order to upskill your organization? It's something that is pressing in terms of time, in a short time horizon, like 3-6 months, or it's like a more longer time horizon, so over the 18 months. There are different ways to upskill the organization. Certainly, the classical three approaches is building the content internally, or you can partner with the vendor externally, or you can actually buy the content from a third-party organization is if you are very pressured from a time perspective. I think it's important also to understand the culture of your organization, how your employees are going to digest this new content that is going to be produced. In the past, we had a little bit of more static version. Now we have dynamic contents, and last we have the gamification experience. Of course, the more sophisticated is the learning channel that you're using within the organization, the more will be costly for the organization, and also it will take maybe a little bit of time to do that. So I think it's mapping who needs what in the organization, how long is the time that the organization needs to build these contents and to be upskilled are crucial in order to make sure that the organization is equipped with the right content and the right tools at the right level of the organization to have these new tasks completed.
All right, very good. Now, Pat, Alfonso brings up my question exactly. Who needs what? So, from your perspective, Pat, in the old days, we used to be able to identify exactly what skills we needed, whether that was a programming language or some sort of hardware or some sort of systems that we could point to specifically. In this case, it's a little less, it's a little harder to identify exactly what the skills are that are needed. So, Pat, what's your perspective? What are the skills that are needed today? And what are some methods that we have to assess those skills shortages across our organization?
So I think the first thing that I would say, Kevin, is we have to be really, really careful as employers not to be ageist, not to assume that the 60-year-old person is unwilling or unable to acquire these skills, and not to assume that the Gen Z was born with them. Because sadly, I've heard employers make that assumption. And I think that you don't benefit your organization if you start categorizing willingness and ability to learn AI tools and techniques based on age, right? So let's take that off the table.
Okay.
Let's instead start thinking about who in our organization are the unofficial leaders. Who are the people in our organization, and you might have lots of them, who within their departments, within their regional directorates, within their product expertise, are the people everybody goes to. They might be a seasoned veteran, they might be a mid-level veteran, but somebody that everybody looks up to because they're the person who has enthusiasm and knows how to cajole people, knows how to guide people. The first thing you want to do is find those people in your organization and bring them on board your AI plan. Let's figure out, what the heck do we think we're doing with AI, right? It doesn't do me any good to teach you all about the fundamentals of large language models, multimodal models, or any other approach to AI if I don't even know what I'm trying to do with it. So as a company, I need to know what I intend to leverage AI for. Then I need to figure out, with the help of my unofficial leaders, how I can build a program that will get my people educated. And it means everybody has to be educated, not just the people that you want to use new AI tools, whether you're bringing in Claude or you're bringing in some other purpose-built AI tool for your industry. You need everybody on board with it. So think about doing lunch and learns. Think about hosting company meetings, even if they're remote customer meetings, company meetings like we're doing here, and tell people, hey, we've got an AI plan. Here's our AI policy. Here's what you can do and can't do. Here's what we can do as a company and what we can't do. Here's how we want your help. So if you're interested in learning AI skills and you don't have any, here's the person to talk to in your department or in HR, or however you want to combine, however you want to set it up. Then figure out what it is you want everyone to know. What's the baseline knowledge that everyone in the company should be aware of in terms of their interactions with AI tools, both the AI tools that you approve and the ones they might be using at home, right? Because one of the things we've heard from employers is one of their fears is that their employees, because they're not providing the right tools for them, are going home and doing searches and doing inquiries and doing research with Claude, with ChatGPT, with Perplexity, with Boodlebox, with whatever, and then walking into the office the next morning going, hey, look what I did with our reports. I fed all of our business reports into this chat engine on my home laptop, and look at what it did. This used to take me 3 days to do, and look, I did it in 3 hours. You need to explain why that's bad, right? Because they think they're helping and they don't know. So we've got to get everybody educated about what's okay and what's not before we start getting into the down and dirty of the tools. And then you're going to eventually pick the people that you want to get that higher level of education for. Because frankly, what Hooman said is exactly correct. Between Coursera, free education on LinkedIn, free education from a lot of the vendors who might do a little bit of a sales pitch, but are doing some really quality education about AI, there's an awful lot of education that will take you to a certain level to get everybody savvy about AI.
Okay.
Policies, programs, procedures, and then go.
All right, very good. Now, Hooman, help me out here. You're Chief Technology Officer. I'm the CEO of a company, and you're coming to me saying, look, we have this skills gap with respect to AI. My first question, as I've said, is exactly what skills are needed? What do we have a shortage of? Can you help me identify the specific skills we may be short on, Hooman?
Yeah. About the skills, it's a kind of general question, but it's referred to two processes. First of all is define the nature of AI implementation. What's your project? For example, so when companies start using AI tools, the skills their employees need can vary a lot depending of the kind of AI they are implementing. For example, let's say a company brings in a chatbot for customer support. The main focus here is making sure the chatbot can talk to customer naturally and solve basic issues in supporting operations. And in this project, okay, you need NLP, natural language processing, large language models, and other techniques. And now on the flip side, think about a manufacturing company using AI for predictive maintenance. This is a whole different issue. Here, the AI is analyzing tons of data from machines to predict when they might break down. The people using this technique to understand how to read those predictions, which might require skills in data analytics, big data storing, data engineering, and other skill sets. So while both are AI applications, the skills need are completely different. A chatbot is about combining soft skills with basic tech understanding, but in manufacturing the story is different. But I want to send the second process, skill auditing. Take a snapshot from your company and employees, and the employees are good at and figuring out in which skills. And another important point, I think that it's not just about individual skills either. A good skill audit also looks at team level capabilities. For example, do the marketing and IT departments collaborate well enough? Make sure this new AI system works to campaigns in the example of chatbots. By doing this regularly, companies stay ahead of problems, ensuring the workforce can keep up the new challenge and new skills. And in this process, the last point is that benchmarking is so hard. I want to hear more from Pat about benchmarking in the process of identifying a skills shortage, because often hard to get reliable information about what other companies and competitors doing in the process of upskilling, and how we can do benchmarking is important.
All right. Well, Hooman, you are asking a question that points us right to our next discussion topic, and that is planning for upskilling and approaches to resolve skills shortages. Look, estimates predict that with the adoption of AI technology, 40% of the workforce will need to be reskilled over the next 3 years. That's a big issue looming on the horizon. And indeed, we have a question coming in from our audience about this from Harold. Thank you, Harold, for your question today. And Harold says, I have a question for the panelists. What strategies do you have in place for upskilling your teams to ensure that they can effectively adapt to and work alongside AI technologies? So, Alfonso, help me a little bit with this. What are some of the most effective strategies that we can use to upskill employees?
Yeah, I think Kevin, it's a great question. Thanks for like our audience to share the question. I think that's what Hooman was saying was probably like fundamental in explaining how the AI works. We are assuming that every organization is ready to ingest AI and they have like the digital infrastructure to have this extra load on top. In reality, it's not, because every industry and every company, they will be in a different stage of their digital transformation journey. Some of the companies, they may still have the data, they are not like digital yet, right? They are in paper format. So they are at the very beginning of moving the data from a paper format to a static format. Then once you have the data, as Uman correctly pointed, you need to have like an NLP or an LLM models, and then you need to train these models. So the model needs to work. Only after that, you can add the AI on the predictive side or generating more content. So once it's not like a magic wand that from one day to another will give you like the boost to your organization. So I think back to what I was mentioning at the beginning of my sharing my experiences is let's try to baseline in the organization on what we are trying to build, how this is going to be built, and what are the tools that are needed. That can be formal training or informal training. Formal, if it's like, self-motivated by the employees, internet is like it's a world with full of opportunities where you can learn from. Whether it is like provided by organization, that can be job shadowing. Every company has like an IT department. It doesn't need like, a formal course that is provided by the organization. Everybody has a colleague that may be curious about something else. And then there are other like, more sophisticated or more structured tools and learning content that can be provided for the organization. I think that the clock is ticking. So we need to have on one side, like, a structured approach for large masses within the organizations, but at the same time, we shouldn't stop like for people to be self-learner, sharing the knowledge within the organizations and helping the organization to uplift for the new content. So I would use both approaches, structured and unstructured, in order to help to reduce like, the learning curve in the shortest amount of time.
All right, very good. Now, Hooman, Alfonso said the clock is ticking, and that resonates with me because we've been talking about the scope of training and the skills, but timelines are also pressing because many organizations are moving very quickly and need to move very quickly to remain competitive. So, Hooman, how do I ensure that my upskilling initiatives align with the pace of AI implementation?
Okay, I want to add some other reasons to your questions. Nature of changing AI technologies. It's really rapidly growing. The concept of lifelong learning, the real-time problems, and also identifying the gaps. All of them could be solved with a continuous assessment schema, For example, rather than waiting for issues to arise, continuous assessment spot skill gaps before they become problems. For instance, if employees start struggling with debugging the chatbot AI responses, regular skill review can catch this and address it with targeted training before customer satisfaction drops. And unlike one-time assessment and taking a snapshot from the enterprise, in continuous assessment and continuous evaluation allows you to spot a skill shortage as they emerge rather than waiting for them become a bigger problems. And encouraging the employees to lifelong learning when assessments are ongoing, employees are more likely to adopt a mindset of continuous improvement. They know their skills will be regularly evaluated and are motivated to keep learning in their life. And AI tools, systems, and business needs evolve quickly, as you mentioned, and other audiences mentioned. A skill set that's enough today might be insufficient tomorrow, yes, but with continuous assessment help ensure that your team's skill keep pace with these changes. And for instance, if your chatbot system receive an update with new natural language processing or new technologies capabilities, continuous assessment can track whether the team has mastered the new skills or not, and for making response to these changes, there are several approaches. For example, hire experts, bringing consultants, upskill internal employee over time, or surface learning and other approaches. But the answer is depends of, I think, three major factors: nature of AI project, enterprise size, and and the third one is the readiness for digital culture. By assessing these three factors, we can make a correct answer to the skill shortage.
And Kevin, if I may add to Uman context for 30 seconds, this is not just like a task that our technology colleagues are facing within the organization. I think generally, like product and technology and finance and other departments organization, they work together. The moment that there is like a new technology innovations, this means that you need to have a budget. So there may be like a budget exercise that they need to be executed from like the business perspective, and maybe there is a shift of priority. So maybe you need to review like the go-to-market for your products or your marketing campaigns within the organization. So I think in an organization, this is always like a team effort that helps like the company to overcome these hurdles and making them successful in the long term.
And
Now, Pat
Kevin,
Hooman,
can I just, oh,
please,
sorry,
yeah,
go
I'm
ahead.
coming to you. Yeah, go right ahead, Pat.
So one of the things I think we have to be careful of is that our listeners are going to be in every size, right? We're going to have listeners who are members of multinational corporations. They might be in corporate departments. They might be in technology specific departments or product specific departments. We also have a lot of mid-tier listeners, people who aren't at that world-class enterprise level where it's possible to move budgets around a little bit if you need to. They might be in a situation where they're watching every penny and they're wondering how they can take advantage of AI. They may already have it and have been using it and not be aware of it. And the funny thing, when we talk to product managers and production department heads, very often we discover that they already know which products in their ecosystem have already been AI enabled, and they're aware that it's there. Some of them care. Some of them care enough that they talk to their vendors and they get better educated about what that AI technology can do for them. And others don't care. They just want to reap the benefits. So when you start thinking about upskilling, start thinking about real skilling, because not everybody needs to be an AI expert in your company. It's unreasonable to ask everyone to be an AI expert. If you operate an IT department, that group of people should be AI aware. They should have that baseline education to understand what it can and can't do. AI can't do everything. They have to understand the AI tools that they have at their disposal, right? ChatGPT is not the cure for the common cold. It won't solve every business problem. It has some nice techniques to it, but it has a lot of limitations. There are dozens of other AI toolkits out there that your vendors may already be using to enable their tools that they sell you to be AI enabled. It may be that you are a DIY type company. You like to do it yourself. So you are looking for toolkits. There's lots of them out there. Make sure that before you start teaching everybody AI tools and techniques, that you understand, I think, Hooman, to your point, doing that assessment of who knows what, you can do that with just a few questions. Have you ever used an AI tool, including Grammarly or Copilot or Gemini? Have you ever touched an AI tool? The people who say, nope, never done it, or aren't aware that I've done it, they're in a bucket. Okay, I've used an AI tool. Now, what have you done with an AI tool? Are you just asking some questions unprompted or, without structure? Yep, that's me. Okay, you're a bucket. Oh no, I'm one of those people who's actually taken the time to take a class to learn how to write a prompt, to understand how to interact with the tool that I'm using. Okay, that's a group of people. My only experience with AI is what my vendor provided me, right? I know that if I'm in the print industry, I know there's a bunch of tools out there that use AI for imposition of pages onto a sheet or ganging and nesting. Those are really complex tasks that used to take people sometimes days to figure out what the right way to organize things on a sheet of paper were. You can do it in 3 seconds now. So maybe you know that. So understand who you're talking to and who you're talking about upskilling and reskilling before you decide that everybody needs to be reskilled, because the vast majority of your employee population, as long as they understand what AI is, what it can do, what it can't do, and what your policies are, that may be good enough.
All right, very good. We are here today with on AI Talk. We're here talking about overcoming the capability crisis and will your AI rollout leave your organization short of skills? We're here with Pat McGrew, Managing Director at the McGrew Group, Houman Razavi, Chief Technology Officer at IEP Canada, and Alfonso Lovieno, Vice President of Product Management at Fiserv. All right. We are running short of time. I do want to get to our last discussion point really quick, folks, before we start rolling into the end of our program today. I'm wondering if each of you could just point to one common pitfall that you see organizations encounter when addressing an AI skills shortage and how it can be avoided. Alfonso, what's a common pitfall that we should be avoiding and how do we do that?
I think it's like we need to be realistic and we don't need to be scared. As probably Houman and other technology colleagues can share, AI is not like a new thing. It has been brought to the consumer world through the ChatGPT. That is one of the latest innovation, but we have been using AI in companies for the last 20, 25 years. It's just that now the target audience is changed, and whatever was business oriented now became consumer oriented. That's why everybody now is aware of what is AI. They are not my initials, for example. So I guess that it's important to be realistic, understand where is needed in the organization, why, who needs this kind of skills for the organization, and providing them the best tools to upskills their content as soon as possible. So let's not panic. There's nothing to panic. Let's be calm and relax, and I'm sure that everybody will be successful.
Don't panic. I like that. All right, Houman, what's one common pitfall that you feel organizations encounter when addressing skills shortages, and how can they be avoided?
Okay, Kevin, for the last point, I want to say that AI implementation across a large scale enterprise often require a deep understanding of concept and even techniques. Sometimes beside understanding hard skills and techniques, softer skills such as teamwork, digital thinking, and understanding the philosophy behind new technologies become crucial. Starting AI training at C-levels and board members is crucial in my point of view, because the strategic visions drives organizational transformation, and by empowering them with AI knowledge, we ensure informed decision making, accelerate innovation, and position the company to lead in rapidly evolving digital landscape.
All right, very good. And Pat, what do you feel is one common pitfall, and what can we do to avoid it?
Using the wrong AI tool for a purpose. So AI tools come in flavors. Some are better at analysis of raw data. Others are designed to be more conversational. The generative pre-trained transformers, for example, are very conversational. You make sure that you as an organization are looking at the right tool for the task that you would like AI to help you with. Then understand that the research, using AI tools for research, requires careful subject matter expertise in evaluating the answers the AI tool brings back to you, because AI hallucinates and lies at times. And the last thing you want to do is build a marketing strategy based on research brought back by a tool that is inaccurate. That could be a path to destruction. And if you're using tools for analysis, make sure that a subject matter expert is looking at the results of that analysis to vet it, because these tools are still learning. they're changing, and they make mistakes.
All right. Well, Pat, Hooman, Alfonso, where has our time gone today? It seems to have slipped right by. We're now just about done with our program for today, but one last question for each of you. I'm wondering if each of you could please provide us with one quick action item that our viewers can use to take advantage of the ideas and advice today. Pat, I'd like to start with you. What do you have for us in terms of an action item?
Learn. Just learn. Understand your business well enough to know what your business needs and understand your expectations, and then learn. Take the time to take a class, listen to some more podcasts, read some more, learn, because the more you understand, the better decisions you'll make about your AI implementation.
All right, very good. That is Pat McGrew from the McGrew Group. Pat, thank you so much for being with us today. Hooman, what about you? Do you have an action item for us today?
Yes, I want to add another word to Pat's words. Learn, 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 but from up to bottom. Starting AI training at C-levels, board members, CEOs, and high-level advisory boards. I think it would be better to a top-down process.
Very good. All right, that is Hooman Razavi, Chief Technology Officer at IEP Canada. Thank you, Hooman, for being with us today. And finally, Alfonso. Alfonso, do you have an action item for us?
Continues to be curious. Continue to dig out the content. Internet brought like the knowledge to everybody. So let's use this tool in the right way. Knowledge is not the privilege of the few, but it can be like, at the consume of the many. There are different tools online. There is different contents. Everybody can start from a basic understanding of AI to the most complex use of AI. Don't be intimidated. Anybody can learn.
All right, that is Alfonso Lovieno, Vice President of Product Management at Fiserv. Alfonso, Hooman, Pat, thank you so much for being with us. What a great panel today. Your perspectives and advice were spot on, so thank you so much. I hope we get a chance to talk again soon. And to everyone joining us today, thank you too. And a special thanks to Harold for your wonderful question today. Harold, you are the winner of a very stylish and highly functional AI Talk coffee mug, or you can put some bourbon in there. It's fine with me. We'll be in touch, and so thank you for your contributions today. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. Please join us next time on AI Talk on January 21st, when I'll be with another great panel of guests discussing the topic, successfully implementing AI tools across your organization. That should be another great discussion, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, if you'd like to find me, you can do so on LinkedIn. I'm happy to connect there, so check me out. I'm Kevin Crane, and you can check out my weekly audio podcast, the Digital Transformation Podcast. But for now, that'll do it for this episode of AI Talk, and until next time, I'm Kevin Crane saying thanks for watching.